What's up, world? It's your girl, Shirley Pearl, on time. Hey, hey, with the video for the Real Housewives of Potomac, season 10, episode 16. So it looks like we've come to the end of the road. Shout out to Boys to Men. But yeah, it's looking like it's a wrap for the season. Okay, so the name of this episode is Driving on Empty. And baby, it was appropriate. Okay, so we go back to the deck patio area of Kimosabi where the ladies are talking. Gizelle still trying to take over the trip from Angel. Basically, Gizelle just wanna have brunch at the Four Seasons and go home. So basically, Angel lets her know the trip not over, home girl. You know, we going fly fishing. And I got this we gonna have me in there, eye candy, and I got this 4 course lunch, open fire lunch for y'all. You know, everything sounds so beautiful. And then y'all can go home. They want to know if it's a place where they can change after fly fishing and shower or whatever. And Angel lets them know, yes, honey, it's a beautiful cabin, and you know it has more than 1 or 2 bathrooms. You know, so that was basically for Gizelle. You know, so Giselle asked her, you know, is she spending the night? Because they trying to be like, well, maybe we could do a little bit at the Four Seasons, go to this fly fishing, then, you know, go on, right? So Angel hesitantly says yes. So what's odd is that they stuff, her stuff, Tia and Kiana's is back at her house. You know what I'm saying? So anywho, she, you know, she's saying it's 2 hours to get there and back, you know, to go get their stuff. So, you know, whatever. And they're really concerned about making their flight on time. So Giselle basically is saying that, you know, she was trying to take a hold of the trip because she was born for this. And she was like, Angel, you were not. And I will say this, Angel. It just, baby, I'm just going to clear this up because this pretty much was the whole rest of the trip. It was a now. But to summarize, I'm going to say this. The, the thing that hurt you in this situation is that you separated yourself from the ladies. You separated yourself. Like everything that they was experiencing, I think it wouldn't have been so bad if you was there. That means Gizelle, they gonna complain. You know, Gizelle is Miss Bougie, fat, green ass, but you were separate. Like that can't happen on no girls trip. I don't give a damn if you just 4 floors up from them. That couldn't happen. And it to me, it just seems like you maybe wanted to prove to them, especially after it was like you were evicted, you're evicted, you're evicted. Like you wanted to show them, nah, come look at my house. This how we living. This, that, you know, and they were all oohs and ahs at your house, but based on this footage, we only seen them go to your house once. And I know people who like to brag on every damn thing they get and want you to see it so you could be like, uh-huh, what you got to say now? And I'm not saying you did that, but your main thing that messed up this trip is the separation and the better accommodations. The separate, it wasn't like say if you got another house and y'all was experiencing water issues, like, you know, an Airbnb or whatever, it kind of been like, oh damn, you know, I messed up. But girl, you was at home in the comfort of your house and everything. And I feel like this. If time was an issue, about time you went back to your house and the time to get back to the Four Seasons, and none of y'all wanted to come back, and didn't none of y'all even say nothing, not even Kiana, not even Tia, who came in off of Gizelle, then you shouldn't have never left, baby. You should have just went to Target or whatever, Found the little, people like Target. Found the little 1 day outfit. I mean, it's flat fishing. You don't necessarily need to be Chanel down. Um, bought a panty bra, whatever, big money, private jet. I think that would have worked. Whenever you invite somebody somewhere, you stay in the trenches with them, and that is where you drop the ball. And I think it was for your own mental health, because you know how they are. You know how they done came with the catfish, with the chin check, and a whole bunch of other shit. Just been what it appears to be is picking on you all of the season. So for you to host a trip on your first season here, I mean, it wasn't no Wendy been on there for years. It wasn't nothing in Wendy name. Wendy was busy getting her house together. Hence the prosecution. Allegedly. Oh yeah, let me put that in there. Everything I say is alleged and strictly my opinion. And I got some damn opinions. But anywho, it's just like maybe if you could have been with them all the time. Like soon as they got to your house that first day and the water wasn't working, that shit should have been rectified. Not sending the house manager, not sending somebody from maintenance or whatever. It's like, no, I'm gonna need a refund. It's not doing what it's supposed to do. It's just like the proactiveness wasn't there. And I think it wasn't there because you don't really fool with these hoes. I mean, it's understandable, but if we on a show, this ain't real life. Because if we don't fool with hoes in real life, they would never come in no way. But you were supposed to do a job. This show is a job. You get paid for it. And you failed at that job. If it was the end of your 90 days, baby, you would be fired. And I ain't trying to bully you like them. I'm just saying, it just the way shit lined up, it didn't work for you, boo. It didn't look good. It didn't work for you. And that's all I'm saying about that. So they get back on the jet. They leaving Kimosabi. They on the jet going back to Denver. And I can't remember who it was. I think it was Tia. They tell Angel that she got some beautiful kids. She got a little daughter and a son. And they also asked her, how does she feel like with the two? I don't know if that's just like, do you want more or, whatever. And basically, Tia says, it's always nice to love something more than you love yourself. And Kiana, ignorant ass, says, I can't think of anybody I love more than myself. And that's why your ass is single and shacking up. Why buy the cow when the milk is free? Baby, you don't love Jesus more than you, girl. Bye. Girl, I don't. You're too much. So in the cars, it's they get back to wherever they land in the private jet. So in the cars or the little trucks, Uber Black or whatever, you got in one car you got Angel, Kiera, Stacey, and Wendy. So out of nowhere, Angel just says, "Oh, you know something about me you guys don't know? I don't like fish. I don't eat fish." And Wendy and Stacey, like rolling their eyes in their head, like, oh my God, like, girl, too little, too late. Wendy, she always got something negative to say. She was like, why are we just finding this out about you or whatever? Just real. They don't like her. They don't. They hazed her, and they don't like her, and the trip did not help. So, anywho, they get back to the Four Seasons and everything, and Angel basically says, we can do, if y'all want to do something else, we could do this honky tonk bar that's around the corner. They got bull riding, and and then we could do brunch in the morning. And Giselle's like, here, right? And she's like, yeah. And she was like, so you're staying here? And she's like, yeah, again. So they like, Kay is like, but we need our stuff. And so they gotta go get their belongings. It'll be 2 hours to go get it, you know. So because they don't have nothing. All the other girls bought all their stuff from the Airbnb with the no or low running water. So yeah, the expectation is they gonna go home and get their stuff and come back and stay in one of the suites. So everybody's together. Whenever that wasn't gonna happen, Angel, you should have let them know immediately. Nobody should have had to text you or anything like that. So anyway, it's a piano in the little lobby, or I think not in the lobby. I'm sorry. I guess that's Gizelle Executive Suite. So these girls make up a little bull crappy song about their experience, basically. Um, just saying, there was no water, running water. Now we have water, and they start rhyming. This trip was sour, but Gizelle got us at the Four Seasons, and we took back our power. Just a little crappy little thing. Even Angel was in on the song, so she was like, everybody has nice buns, you know. They just trying to, you know, get under her skin, which I think is working. I think that how emotional Angel is, that they are, unless it's something else. And I ain't saying it's your husband. I ain't about to go off on the Monique tangent, but you are really super emotional. And I know your daughter is what, 19 months, almost two. I don't know if postpartum is this long. I mean, don't get me wrong. I ain't trying to down it or whatever. If that's what it is, then that's what it is. But anywho, so it's the next day. All the ladies is getting ready. They noticed that Angel room, girl, the bed is made. Ain't nobody been in there. I hope it wasn't paid for it. If it was paid for by Bravo. It was not slept in, and none of the other ladies. So, they didn't stay. So everybody is in Gizelle's suite and they thanking her for the relaxation and having a shower and hot water and all that. Wendy comes in. She's the last one to come in her little aloe outfit with sun visor and a little Chanel fanny pack. And I hope the prosecutors aren't watching this. Allegedly. I hope none of that shit on the list that was paid out for. Allegedly. Okay. So anyway, she's saying that she like nature. She a nature girl. And she ready for the flat fish. And she bouncing around with that new body. Like she must be, you could tell she feeling cute. So Ashley is like, I'm really ready for an excursion. Everybody happy, everybody ready to go. So Gizelle makes it be known that she texted Angel and they said they were staying at home because everybody is asking, like, well, what happened? And she was like, she's staying home because it was late. And when it pans to Angel about that, she was like, it was already after 1 a.m. when they got there. But you knew that on your way there. And then you talking about going to a honky tonk bar when you get back. Girl, Angel, no. Just no. This trip, you would have did better, mama. Just renting a Airbnb or a hotel in fucking Potomac where they was close to their house. Y'all had some brunch and went shopping at the local mall and played Truth or Dare. And I'm jumping the gun, but on Married to Medicine, they in Florida somewhere on their episode, which I'm gonna do after this video, maybe tomorrow, maybe later on, it depends. But the Airbnb or the house that Contessa got views, patios, a bathroom in everybody room except for the one Angel and Brandy is in. But I don't want to get into their episode. I'll discuss their episode later. But like those are the type of rooms, and even Atlanta, that when you go in, like us at home sitting on the couch, it's like, oh my God. And those people actually generate more business because people they see things and then they go to the website and be like, yeah, that's a real place. Oh yeah, and they have this and this. It's promotion for the business. Wherever Angel had those girls at, I hope they didn't put their name or people know where it's at, because baby, ain't nobody staying there for no damn water. Nobody staying there with no water. You can forget about it. So yeah, that's not gonna work. But anywho. So anyway, we get, to the ladies, they get in their little vehicles, they Uber Blacks on their way to go to this excursion, fly fishing in a damn open pit 3-course meal somewhere in the damn forest somewhere. So it starts showing that it's 5 hours and 34 minutes until their plane ride. And they all getting ready to go. So you have in one car, you have Wendy, Stacey, and Jassi. In the other car, you have Ashley, Gizelle, and Monique, the OGs. And they're all excited about getting to the place or whatever. I guess whoever, because they never showed a driver, but they probably put in a GPS to this location where they're going to fly fish at. So, and it just seems like it's a little ways away. So Monique was in the car with Monique, Gizelle, and Ashley. Monique was like, man, I talked to my mom this morning. She said she missed having coffee with me. And so Ashley was like, Gizelle, do you talk to your mother every day? And Gizelle was like, no, maybe once a week. And she said after her dad died, she wants to just make sure her mother is good and make sure her mother will is intact, because she went through a whole bunch of red tape. So I'm not sure if her mom is remarried too, because in the father situation, whoever the new wife was, everything was left to her, and she felt like it may have been some like he was under duress when stuff was signed and it just didn't seem right. So I don't know if her mother got that same situation, but she says her mother really talks to her daughters more than her anyway. And that's, the grandkids always is, the parents' second chance. So they pan back to Wendy, and she is basically saying how Angel acts, and she's not trying to get a genuine connection with everybody, and she just has to own it. And Jassi says that, I have a connection with her. And Wendy is like, what? And she was like, well, the fact that we're wags or whatever, girl, you gonna beat that shit into the ground. You girl. And I seen you with that I want to say your husband is on one of those teams that made it to the Super Bowl. So I don't know if we're gonna see him if they need some backup players, but it's either the Seahawks or the other ones. But I seen you came down Instagram. But anywho, so Stacey says that she basically feels a way that Jassi gave her phone number to Sharice after Sharice kind of talked about her and drug her name through the dirt, saying she was promiscuous, a little hoe, with the married guy that she didn't care about. So Jassi basically said, well, was I supposed to be rude to her? And she also says, look, I can't go around being upset with all the people who you got a problem with or come for you. I won't have no damn friends. So she was like, what was I supposed to say? Don't talk to me. You said something about my friend. And they going back and forth. And she's like, you're my friend. So you got Wendy in the front seat making all these faces like, messy Wendy. So Wendy says, Stacey, can I ask you a question? You gotta recognize loyalty. Whenever you have friends that are down with you, you have to reciprocate it. So Jassi basically says, was it your plan to support me at my wedding before you found out Ashley and Wendy was coming? And of course, Wendy with that old annoying ass, we going there. And Jassi like, yeah, we're going there. So she's bringing up the situation where Ashley told her in some episodes back she wasn't even coming to your wedding till she found out we were coming. So yeah, let's discuss it. Let's put it on the table. So Stacey was like, the first thing, I was launching my business and I had people from Florida there every day that week of your wedding. So Jassi basically tells her, but you had my invitation before you even started your launch. People do save the dates, invitations, all that. And you couldn't work around as my friend for a special day. And that is correct. If it's your friend, I do believe that Stacey wasn't coming until the other girls came. I do. And she basically is making like it's like blind loyalty to Stacey. And to Jassie's point, it's like you basically iced out by everybody, and then you trying to come be cool with me just to have somebody to film with or have your back. But you weren't even coming to the most special day in my life, my wedding. So they going back and forth. Wendy jumps in it and let's Stacey basically knows she wrong. Like, you weren't coming. I called you and told you that is your friend, and you need to put some stuff to the side and make it to the wedding. And then hearing that, I could see how you would be like, well, I wish the bitch wouldn't even come. That's how I would have been. Wendy threw her right up under that damn bus. She sure did. So then it pans to Angel. Lord have mercy. And somebody dropped her a pin, or I don't know if she GPS in the location, but she lost. She lost, and you could see on her face the anxiety. And yeah, that come from the separation. Y'all all could have been lost together and sung melodies, made up some more melodies, or something. But anyway. So we pan to the car with Monique, Ashley, and Gizelle. And Monique basically says, I don't know if Angel will ever redeem herself with you, Gizelle. And Gizelle like, no. She should have been in that hotel, in that room in the morning, and we should have been going over what the agenda of the day was. And even though I know Gizelle is a mean girl bully, I agree. I agree. And like I said, girl, you could have ran the Target and just got just like, I'm just gonna have to eat this. But I don't know. I know that there's some men let the babies hang off the bed, let them holler, oh, it's good for their lungs or whatever. But you wanted to be at home. That's why your babysitter left at 9 p.m. every night, because your plan was to put the kids. It sounded like a system y'all got going, and you ain't want to interrupt the system, not even for these hoes. And I mean, you're going to have to eat that, honey. You're going to have to eat that. But anyway, I don't want to come down too hard on you. So Ashley says, so in the car with Ashley, Gizelle, and Monique, they basically make mention like, do you think that Angel is the one who might have told Bobby, and Bobby might have said something to Chris Samuels? And you know what, Ashley, you was a dirty heifer, because I don't believe that for a minute. I don't even think he probably ain't talked to that guy since he got out of high school. And for you, it looks like you grasping for stars. You want to mount on with something. Then even in that scene, you basically would say, well, yeah, she's a girl's girl. I don't think she would have did it. Well, why would you even bring that up? You done brought up several different things about her man, and it's just making you look like a hater. Why don't you go on and see what Michael ass is doing? Well, that's what you should do. So anyway, let's see what else these hoes and did. Oh, so basically Ashley lets Monique know for the very first time. I don't think we knew that she actually talked to Chris. I don't know where she was out and saying Chris, and asked him and was like, "You banging Stacey?" And he kind of did this. Oh, like, girl, what woman asks a man that and expect to get a damn answer? You ain't his damn best friend, guy, girl. And Monique is basically like, his name was being brought up and in because he texted Stacey and was like, I hear my name being brought up among the collective. So I think all that is his that's his conscience. Because if you really did do all that stuff she booked, then you are concerned about getting your image. I don't know if it was ever squeaky. I mean, nobody, you just was an afterthought, but you are concerned about your image if there is some abuse allegations and things of that nature in there, or in bad sex or whatever. You want to know what they saying, and you shouldn't. You should move on with your life, baby, because it look like she has. So Monique's basically lets Ashley know even his response to what she asked him was messy. And I believe, Monique, you ain't about to tell me nothing about a person who been with a person for years. Before this show was even thought about, live with him, whatever, married to him, had kids by him. So then we pan back to Jassi and Stacey. They still going back and forth. And Wendy is saying the problem with you is that I called you and said that your friend Jassi is getting married and you need to try to be there, instead of being like you are. And so Jassi response is like, yeah, and I gave Sharice my number. Whoopity do. And in that whole situation right there, why are you concerned about her having Sharice's number or what they're going to talk about? It just sounds like some guilt. Like you might have been talking and you worried about it getting spread out there. But girl, that's high school. That's even first year of college. You worried about grown women exchanging numbers? Now let me tell you something, Stacey. You a little too long in the tooth to be playing high school and first year college games, even fourth year college. Let's be honest. And I don't know how old Stacey is. I googled her and it said 53. Um, she pretty, but baby, you don't look 25, 35. Now you might can pass for 45, but 50, 53 seem about appropriate. Sure the hell do. So they pan to the location where the fly fishing, and it's a chef and I guess the assistant on site. And they got some stuff on the grill, some ribs. It fell in the charcoal, and yeah, they like, we getting the food ready. It be ready in X amount of time. Blah blah. So then we pan back to Angel, and she didn't pull it up into this location. Ain't nothing there. So they get the backing out, and she's again becoming flustered, like, oh man, everything I try, I had good intentions, this, that, and the other. You had good intentions, but you also had separate intentions, and that's where it messed you up at, honey. So she's basically saying, I don't think they'll be able to fly fish, eat, and make their flight on time. You think? 3 hours and damn past, y'all still riding around. So, uh, the ladies, Wendy getting real, pants back to their car, and she's letting Stacey know she on bullshit and yada yada yada. They discover that, they call the other car like, look, we need to stop. We gotta go to the bathroom. We hungry. So they stop at a gas station, truck stop. I don't know what it was. It had some tables outside. I don't know if them tables was put there for them or if they just out there. So they getting out and you know, they go to get some food and they FaceTime Angel and they's like, where are you guys? And she's like, I'm an hour and a half away. Somebody dropped me a pen, the pen didn't work, and I was on the other side. So they're like, don't you have a business called Wonderland or whatever the hell that business is? And whatever excuse Angel said, it didn't suffice. And they're just like, you know what? We at a gas station. Gizelle is like, I don't eat food off a truck. Whatever. It's all these different problems. This is the end of the trip for them. And so she basically calls uh Angel calls the people and let them know that they're not coming, and they're looking like, oh wow, he done made all this food, which is supposed to be a 3 course uh meal. But anywho, that's just how power. That's just how it go. Shit, I don't know. It just was messed up from beginning to end. I think you could have did Holiday Inn Express and Potomac with a pool and just played Truth or Dare, and they would have been satisfied. They would have talked about you, but they wouldn't have had this much ammo. So basically, the ladies say, let's just eat this food, and they eating pizza, and everybody's still complaining about the Truett, Monique, whatever. So somebody asked, I believe it was Gizelle, how was the car ride? And they basically, Jassi says that Stacey only came to her wedding because Ashley and Wendy came, and they had a whole discussion about it and let her know she was on bullshit. And Stacey, she got a whole new attitude. She like, a friend to everyone is a friend to no one. You are trying to find your spot in this group. And that's a dig. That's saying that she pandering to get a flute, peach, whatever the hell they give off in Potomac, a leaf. I don't know. But Wendy then starts going in. Girl, you playing this game. You playing a motherfucking game and cussing and acting all ignorant, and I've had your back, and don't play with people who got your back. Just putting on for Gizelle and so Stacy gets her little Frio ass up and go get her luggage out the car, and she's standing over like she about to call Timo to come and airlift her out of there. I'm like, girl, if you don't get your ass back in that car and make it to the airport. So so they go over to talk to her and wing her ass back in. I'm like, girl, with this high altitude, no showers for 24 hours, girl, stop playing. Who the hell come? What you going, Uber, Lyft? Girl, get your ass in this car. So her and Wendy hug it out, and she just tell her, I'm your friend. You don't have to be like that with your friend. I had your back when everybody in this group hated you. So, Wendy is fake as hell though, but I hope you see that, Stacey. But when you was on Watch What Happens Live, you said y'all good friends, but sound like allies, sound like traitors. So, it basically pans back to Angel, and she is tearful. And she was like, she was planning this for months, girl. No, that's a damn stretch. And she was like, nobody sees her kindness. It just doesn't work. And, wah, wah, wah. Spank the baby. But, yeah, it should have never been a separation. You know what I'm saying? It should have been child care with a husband or the babysitter. And maybe you don't want no babysitter staying if it's a woman staying overnight with your husband, or even if that was an option, you know. Um, yeah, it just sucked, Angel. I'm sorry, but you know, it just kept getting worse and worse. Like somebody set you up. So we found out that this is really the last episode, you know. They basically the next episode is gonna be, I don't know if it's gonna be an hour of Karen talking. I really don't want to see that. But yeah, Andy comes to her house in Potomac and does an interview. I just can't think of what he could talk to her about for an hour. I don't want to hear about your damn prison showers and none of that shit. Just, girl, can you put the liquor down or not? Do you want a job or not? Because these hoes are stressful and they be trying. And if you can't sit in a damn room with tequila, rum, Hennessy, Remy, and all that shit and not touch it, then baby, maybe you shouldn't come back. And basically, he asks one of those questions like that the viewers don't think you should come back, and how, you know, they pan to it. They added an extra few minutes on this episode, and they pan to that little restaurant that Karen is known for, Tally Ho. um that shit that was unnecessary. And then they show her coming out with her poetic braids and a scarf, reporter snapping pics, and you know, I guess she on her way home. She looks visibly shaken. She don't have on a whole bunch of makeup. Because you know they probably don't have that shit in there, but it looked like she had on some lashes. But I guess we'll see that next week. But overall, it was a good season. I will I will like to just say, if Angel comes back, because they did a montage of what people had going on, and then nobody had shit going on really. Gizelle lost that court battle with her over her father's stuff. Kiana is saying that her and Greg are doing better than ever. That's what you're supposed to say, baby. Save face. She's preferencing her mid spot over marriage. Tia is still cultivating a relationship with this sister that her daddy cheated on her mama with. Angel bought a $2 million house in Potomac, and Ashley is going back and forth with the guy Josh, you know, playing with him, even though, you know, he can't rent out a restaurant or fly on a private jet. He must got something you want. Wendy was accused of fraud and is facing her and Eddie 15 years. Stacey is still with Timo, you know. They ain't remarried. And I don't know if they said what Jassi was doing. But that's all I can remember. That's all of this video, and got too long. It just was a trip from hell. Hopefully you can redeem yourself at the reunion. I hope. But it's just, they can hit you with a lot of this stuff happen with the separation, you know. And yeah, hopefully next year when you come back, baby, you got it all down pat. Cause I think you should get another season, especially if you bought a place in Potomac, you know. But that's all I got. Ain't got no more. That's it. And yeah. Um, like, comment, subscribe, share the video, tell your mama to listen, tell your grandma to listen, and tell her to drop a comment if she got a problem with something I said. Okay. Bye.